Thank you for joining us today. I am L.A. Warren. The Reverend Jesse Jackson is no stranger to social and political activism. From history books to all forms of the media, one thing is clear. He is a global icon revered by many. And perhaps the most important aspect about him, for which everything in his life revolves spiritually, is seeking justice for humankind through his ministry as well as the Rainbow Push Coalition. Now, WJSU and JSU TV are delighted to have him as a special guest in our studio today. He joins us to discuss a variety of topics. Welcome, Reverend Jackson.
I am delighted to be at Jackson State again. Let me express my thanks to Pastor Dwayne Pickett of the New Jerusalem Baptist Church. I'm his guest this weekend, and he is going to be the centerpiece of a revived Rainbow Push Coalition across Mississippi and across the South. So it's good to be home again.
Awesome. Well, of course, that speaks to what I said earlier about your devout road to the ministry and that you continue to spread the gospel as you travel the country. Now, let's continue. Now, many things are happening in the world today. Now, some events remind us of an era that helped to define your evolving legacy. Now, one incident that unfortunately we won't be able to explore in depth is the killing of Trayvon Martin in Sanford, Florida by admitted shooter George Zimmerman. Now, to recap, there are the 911 tapes, controversial bail for Zimmerman, the Stand Your Ground law, grieving parents, and so much more. Now, the point is this. I would imagine that you would agree that despite the dawn of a new era, your role as an activist for justice may continue well into the 21st century.
Well, there is a huge backlash against progress. Astonishing to me that the South has been the beneficiary of the civil rights struggle. You wouldn't have had the Memphis Grizzlies, Mississippi playing Alabama, black and white players together, had we not been successful. You wouldn't have had the Olympics in Atlanta. You wouldn't have Toyota in Mississippi or Honda were it not for the success of our struggle. So we've all benefited from bringing down those barriers. But there's a huge backlash against the struggle. The voter suppression laws, voter ID laws here in Mississippi, making it more difficult to vote with a disproportionate impact upon people of color. The Stand Your Ground laws, which really are armed vigilantes to shoot people as they did in the case of Trayvon Martin. The race profiling, which should be a felony and not a misdemeanor. There's these mean-spirited schemes to undermine our progress, and we, of course, we cannot allow the dream to be hijacked.
Now, do you see the federal government as the only recourse for resolving the Trayvon Martin case?
The only one that has the power to intervene. When we were denied the right to vote, people of color, the federal government had to intervene. To end slavery, the federal government had to intervene. And ironically, in 1965, blacks in Deep South could not vote, but white women couldn't serve on juries. Farmers who couldn't pay poll taxes couldn't vote. You could only vote on Tuesday, a most inconvenient day for working people. 18-year-olds could not vote until 1970. They were serving the war in Vietnam. In 1974, you could not vote on campuses, and though you were citizens. In 1975, we got the bilingual voting. So all of these progressive acts to include and expand the big tent are now under attack, whether it's voter suppression schemes or whether it's attacking the workers' right. In Mississippi, a state, about 50% of state budget is federal government. There are 2,000 workers here and teachers. It's just federal payroll.
Absolutely. Now, not to label you as a prognosticator, but perhaps unrelated to the Trayvon Martin case, do you see the potential for a race riot in the near future?
I hope not. I really hope that we see nonviolence not because we're scared, but because we're wise. Not because violence, of course, will invite, more violence, and we must go another way. But there is a growing sensitivity to abuse. This year, 35 blacks have been killed or shot by police or security guards, 35, 18 since Trayvon. At some point, enough is enough. But going a step further, it's not just the killing, but the deterrence to the killing. When Rodney King was beaten, it was not the beating that triggered the riot. It was the 4 people who killed him walked away. In Chicago, there's a guy named Howard Morgan, a police officer, on his way home, stopped by 4 white police at night. And rather than accept his credentials as a fellow officer, they handcuffed him. They shot him 28 times. He survived. They accused him of shooting at them. He got 40 years in jail. Darren Hanna in North Chicago, He and his girlfriend were having a dispute. Police came. By the time she was in the bathtub, he was on the side of the bed. 6 of them tased him 7 times. Only one of them lost their job. It is the excessive use of force and the abuse of power that's triggering these reactions. I hope that we will find a more civilized way to resolve them rather than riots.
Certainly, and my hope is that others will continue to take up the mantle of leadership as paid by you with the Rainbow.
Well, let me say, one of my concerns about Mississippi today is that here we are, rich soil, poor people. 600,000 in this state do not have health insurance. Education becoming less affordable. I would make the case, and I appeal for those who are watching, every student that comes across the stage of Jackson State for a diploma should have a voter card and a diploma. Every high school student who's 18 and will be 18 by November should come across that stage diploma in one hand, the voter card in the other. If you're wearing a hoodie and you're not a voter, you're being hoodwinked. You're missing the real power. I asked some students at Whitehaven in Memphis, how many high school seniors? 453. If you had a chance to be a juror in Trayvon Martin case when Zimmerman come to court, would you be in the? I'd love to be in the jury. Only registered voters can be jurors. And so there's a tremendous amount of education that must continue. We might continue to fight to be empowered to protect our interests.
Wow, interesting point. Now, let's turn to politics. For presumptive nominee Mitt Romney is fanning across the nation to try to rally support in his bid to unseat President Barack Obama. Now, the road to the White House for Romney had been a bruising campaign, particularly from fellow GOP contenders. Now, does Romney have a credible chance at becoming the nation's 45th president?
Well, he has a chance, but I hope he does not succeed. One, he seems to be a weak on safe foreign policy. President Obama, he came into office, we had 100,000 troops in Iraq. They're home now. He came into office, the big fear was Ben Laden. He is gone now. And so we are stronger, it seems. He came in office, we were losing 800,000 jobs a month, 800,000. Now the arrow is pointing upward. Romney suggested let Detroit go bankrupt, the automotive industry. Well, we're now #1 again. The Ledbetter Act, equal pay for women, that's been signed into law now. President Obama has a track record. And so on the one hand, the track record matters. On the other hand, it seems to me that people like Romney have spent more time attacking the president than attacking the problem. And I think all of us should be focused more on how to gain for more Americans a job, health insurance, and a place to live.
Well, you mentioned job. Is the economy his only weapon? Since I don't see him gaining much traction, political traction, with his vow to overturn Obamacare, particularly the Affordable Health Care Act, given that he was an architect of a similar law as governor of Massachusetts?
Well, that's one of his flip-flopping. And the question becomes, are we better off 4 years later? Will we have fewer troops in Iraq 4 years later? Ben Laden is gone 4 years later. More people are insured, in fact, 4 years later. The economy is going upward as opposed to downward 4 years later. The automotive industry has bounced back 4 years later. One sees a pattern of, and I contend that track record of an upward arrow for employment must continue.
Yeah. And Romney faces a wide gulf of support among women, Hispanics, as well as evangelicals, as well as from some in his own party. Now, do you see any particular weakness of President Obama that former Governor Romney can exploit as he tries to occupy 1,600?
It seems to me that President Obama sees America through a door, and Romney sees America through a keyhole. I mean, women's right to self-determination matters to women, Republican and Democrat. Students having more access. There's an attempt to double the interest rate on student loans. President Obama is fighting to keep it 3.4, not let it go to 6.8. For students, that matters. Just now, student loan debt's greater than credit card debt. That matters. The issue of workers' right to organize and make livable wages, it ought to matter. And I think if President Barack stays on the big tent view of America, where people of all colors find common ground, he'll win and deserve to.
Aside from Romney, a woman as president, perhaps, one day?
Well, very close to Hillary Clinton winning in the last election. And she would have won the nomination had it not been for our successful campaigns led by people like Congressman Bennet Thompson right here in this state, Congressman Benny Thompson and a body of leaders in this to help us to win Mississippi in 84 and 88. But we also won, but we changed the rules. It used to be a high threshold to be a delegate and winner take all. In other words, if I got 49.9, you get 50.1, you get all 100%. That made it more difficult for an underdog to win. We changed the rules where you get proportionality. So based upon proportionality, President Hillary Clinton won Texas, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and California, but barely. Under the old rules, she would have been the winner. The rules we created, she can only get her share, and President Barack Obama became the winner. So we never stopped from the time that we got the right to vote, really from Emmett Till to Medgar Evers to Fannie Lou Hamer in Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party. We never stopped fighting from the Delta to the White House. And we got there, but now we got to fight to keep it, but go beyond the White House to an America where all Americans have a job and a decent place to live and secure wages.
Okay, and as I prepare to wrap up, you know, as I rewind the clock back to 1984 and 88 when you ran for President of the United States and you had some impressive runs, and the nation, I suspect the nation could possibly see another African-American president at some point.
Well, the door is open now. It could be African-American, it could be a woman, it could be a Latino. And the good news when we look at the big football game, we choose direction over complexion, and we choose uniform color over skin color. Why? Because when the playing field is even and the rules are public and the goals are clear and the referee is fair and the score is transparent, it really doesn't matter. If you have cancer, if the surgeon is Latino, or black or white, it shouldn't matter if you want to get well. I've lately flown planes from New York to California with 2 female pilots, unthought of in years past. But if they've mastered the art of aeronautical science, it's perfectly all right. So as we grow beyond the limited thoughts of what people cannot do, look at the unlimited things people can do, we'll all get better, and we'll all be made more secure. Again, I want students at Jackson State now and forever, built into your coming out of this college, this university, the plume in one hand, knowledge and wisdom, and the voter card, power and responsibility. In this state, we paid too big a price for the right to vote, to have a diploma and no job, and to have a degree and no but to fight to get your share of jobs and justice. And that's just what a vote does. Voters can become jurors. They elect prosecutors. They elect judges. Voters have power, and it's a power too great for us to lose. And we use it, good things come our way. We've never lost a battle we fought. We never won a battle unless we fought. So I say it's fighting time, and one weapon in that fight is your vote.
Well, finally, young people on the campus of Jackson State University know of your legacy. I wanted you to share with us where the Rainbow Push Coalition currently stands in getting young people involved in other pressing issues.
The key issue now is that in Mississippi we're free, but not equal. Yeah. And this now is a fight for our share of contracts, our share of jobs, our share of health care, our share of access to capital and industry and technology. It required one set of skills to get free, and that was a long, bloody battle. But to be free without equality is free to starve, free to be unemployed, free to be without access to banks, free and uninsured. So freedom is a prerequisite to the goal, which is equality, free to fight to get equal, and so the struggle continues.
So clearly the relevancy of PUSH and the NAACP is still relevant today.
You'll hear much more about Rainbow PUSH in the coming days here because Reverend Pickett and Dr. Glover and others will be moving here in this area to build a solid Rainbow PUSH, to connect Rainbow PUSH in Mississippi with Memphis, Arkansas, and around the nation.
Well, thank you, Reverend Jackson, for joining us today.
Thank you, sir.
From the Mississippi East Center at Jackson State University, I am L.A. Warren. Good day.